Attorneys. Over the last few years, I've had my hands inside the books of more than 100 law firms, the ad accounts, the invoices, the intake logs, even some of the P&Ls. In the 100 law firm marketing budgets I've audited, I started seeing the same things over and over again. Not random mistakes, but patterns. The exact same leaks in the exact same places at law firms that had no idea they were bleeding. My name is Hugo E. Gomez. I'm the founder of Abogados now. We've driven over $250 million in settlement fees for more than 500 law firms nationwide. So when I tell you what I found in these budgets, it's not really theory. It's the same diagnosis I've delivered to a partner across the desk more times than I can count.
Before we continue, a quick note and the only break you'll hear in today's episode. Most attorneys know they should be reaching Hispanic clients, but very few do it well. That's where we come in. At Abogados Now, we build authentic Spanish language campaigns that actually get you more cases and grow your practice. So, if you're looking for a new way to get more clients, book a call with our team today at abogadosnow.com. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Here's the first thing that hits me in these audits. Almost every firm was wrong about where their money went. Not even a little wrong, like totally, completely wrong. I'd ask a managing partner which channel brought in their best cases, and they'd say Google. Then we'd pull the actual signed case data, and then it was referrals, or a single landing page they'd forgotten that they built. They were spending based on a gut feeling that the data flatly contradicted. And it always traced back to the same blind spot. Every single one could tell me their revenue down to the dollar, but almost no one could tell me what it costs to sign one case, at least accurately. Think about how strange that is. You know what came in, but not what it costs to make it come in. That one missing number is why up to 35% of the average law firm's marketing spend is wasted. They're optimizing a machine that they can't really see inside or that they fully understand. Once we could see inside, the patterns almost got a little funny. The cheapest leads were quietly the most expensive. A firm would brag about $40 leads from one source and ignore the $300 leads from another, until we did the math on what actually got signed. The $40 leads converted at 2% and resulted in a $2,000 cost per case. But those expensive $300 leads, they converted at 25% and their cost per case ended up being $1,200. Obviously, we're talking about PI in this context. They were proud of the channel that was robbing them most of the time. This flipped on almost every audit we ran. The channel that looked expensive per lead was actually the bargain per case. And the channel that looked cheap was a money pit dressed up as a deal. So if you're judging your marketing by cost per lead, you are almost certainly funding your worst channel and starving your best one. Cost per lead is the most dangerous number in legal marketing because it feels like an insight when it's actually a trap. Then I lined up the firms that were actually growing against the ones that were stuck. I expected the growers to be spending way more, and more often than not, they were not. I expected the growers to be spending way more. In short, they weren't. The firms that grew weren't spending more, but they were spending clearer. The same budget as another firm down the street, sometimes a lot less. The difference was never the size of the check. It was whether they could see what the check bought. And when I looked at what the winners all had in common, it collapsed into one habit. One number ran every firm that won. Cost to sign a case by channel, updated every week and month. That's it. It wasn't some fancy dashboard looking at complicated funnels. It wasn't a bigger team or an overpriced CMO. They knew this month what it cost to sign a case from Google versus referrals versus their website versus social media, and they moved money towards whatever was winning in that month. The stuck firms looked at that number once a year, if ever. There was a structural trap too, and almost everyone was in it. Most firms bet 80% of their budget on paid ads, the one channel that stops producing the second you stop paying. Meanwhile, the thing that compounds, that keeps sending you cases for years and years and years after you publish it, got the scraps. They were renting their entire pipeline and calling it a strategy. The growers flipped that. They rented and they owned. Here's the one that stings the most. Half the firms trying to fix their marketing didn't even have a marketing problem at all. Their ads weren't broken, not even their landing pages or their conversion funnels. It was usually that their phones and intake systems were. They were paying good money to make the phone ring and then losing a third to half of those callers to slow callbacks, weak intake, rude intake, poor training, no scripting, no follow up. You can't outspend a leaky bucket. Most firms were pouring more water in instead of fixing the hole. So, after 100 of these audits, here's the honest conclusion: the fix is almost never a bigger budget, it's a clearer one. Almost every firm I audited already had enough money in the system to grow. It was just pointed at the wrong things, measured by the wrong number, and leaking out a hole that nobody was even watching. So find the leak, fix the number you track, in this case, cost per case, and the same dollars start producing more cases. So if you want to find where the money's actually going and where it's leaking in your marketing funnel, that's exactly what we do. Information is in the call notes, and we'll pull it apart together. Let's talk.